So making Sonic as a movie, like adapting it from the games, has always been like was always going to be like a hard thing to do, especially with the first three games in the series. But I don't think anybody realized that like the people who were going to make the first Sonic movie, they were going to basically be fighting like an uphill battle, because how do you turn a simple plot of like the first Sonic game into like a full blown like 90 minutes movie like that's it's going to it's going to be almost, it will be like watching the first Mario movie. Like you need to like write more, because the first Sonic game has such a simple story, so it was always going to be hard to do it. And then we saw the what Sonic looked like. Then it scared us all so much that we bullied the company into changing it, which worked. Huh. And they went as toxic as the Snyder Cut fans. So this is just this is just almost a miracle on its own, except from the parts where the people who actually redid the Sonic designs kind of went out of business. But yeah, so making a Sonic movie, let alone a Sonic 2, was always going to be something that it would be like, okay, I want to see if they try, but they're probably going to fail. And I am happy to say that not only have they not failed, but they've gotten to part 3. And in what I thought was a risky move, they've gone straight to the Sonic Adventure series, which, now that I think about it, is I wouldn't say a good move, but it's like, yeah, it is probably the thing to do. Because here's the thing. I kind of wanted them to do like a third movie that it still existed in the like world of the first game, like like an anthropomorphic animals, obviously not straight up animal, where Sonic is fighting Robotnik, and I wanted that to be the main plot. Like basically, this movie should be Sonic going to space, and then you can introduce Shadow. Preferably in the third movie, he would be fighting like Metal Sonic if Robotnik died. But then I realized that while I was obviously watching the trailer for the third movie and just seeing Shadow, that yeah, the movies are already kind of in the Sonic adventure movie world, where they are straight up normal human beings living on Earth, and Sonic and his friends are also living on Earth. And yeah, the movies have always kind of been in the Sonic Adventure world, and it feels like they've been building up for a Sonic Adventure X story. So, like, yeah, this makes a lot of sense to do first, especially since the person who's, I'm not sure if he's the writer or director, but he worked on the Shadow the Hedgehog game, which means Shadow might get his own movie. But what am I saying? Shadow will probably get his own movie. In fact, Shadow is probably one of the most, we can do a standalone movie without the titular characters in the entire Sonic universe. Like except maybe Sally, but then you'd have to include the Freedom Fighters and basically its own world. And I'm getting off topic. The Sonic 3 movie trailer and all the things I think we will still see, even though people are saying that we won't see them, and all the actual changes. So the big elephant, the pink head and white head, technically elephants in the room are whether Amy and Rouge aren't going to be in this movie, if they basically been cut to make the story simpler. And I can see aspect of Amy's role being filled in by Tails, and Rouge is just, yeah, Rouge just in Sonic Adventure 2, the story that is basically going to be the blueprint for this movie. Rouge is integral, in fact, very integral. But if if they do what I think they're doing, which I don't like the idea of this, but so Shadow seems to not be using a Chaos Emerald to like teleport and stuff to do his superpowers, which in the games he needs that to do. And Ruji's whole thing is stealing not only the Chaos Emeralds, but the Shattered Master Emeralds. And she's trying to steal it before like Knuckles gets it back and fixes it because he's supposed to guard the Master Emerald and keep it out of the hands of Robotnik and Rouge. Rouge is both a foil for Shadow, where we see Shadow like basically not prove that he's not an edgy rival. Well, he is kind of edgy. More of the story is edgy. He's an edginess in between, like perfectly in between, like Vegeta and Sasuke. He's like, if anyone has watched Yu Hakusho, he's here. Yes, he has the here kind of edgy. Yes, he has the here kind of edgy. But we see him care for his teammate Rouge. And then when he finds out she's a secret agent, and I'm saying too much, if this whole thing is that Rouge and Amy could still be in this movie, and I'm saying Rouge is a secret agent for the point is, you would be losing that like softer side of Shadow before he's finally, part of the good guys. Because this isn't a spoiler. We all know he's gonna join the good guys and not to destroy the world like what he wants to do. And if you remove Rouge, and yet Rouge, the bigger thing that I think she does, and I think this is an important thing because she acts as a rival to Knuckles, and Knuckles kind of becomes irrelevant in the Adventure series, except for the fact that he has this doting rivalry that is almost a romance, nowhere near a romance, because I don't think either of them are willing to go that far. But it's probably the most interesting things that Knuckles gets to do, and he gives him his own rival, his own challenge to overcome, because he's really strong, but like she's really like smart and like crafty, and he can't just punch her to beat her, especially when she's stealing something she's supposed to be protecting. So it gives Knuckles something to do. And one of the things I was afraid of when Shadow immediately comes as the next villain is that he immediately overshadows Knuckles. Because Knuckles was the last, villain, he was the last villain for the other movie. So him just immediately being overshadowed in like power is just kind of especially if they remove the Chaos Emeralds, because the Chaos Emeralds are like I had a conversation with someone that said that yes, Shadow is really strong and he can beat everybody, but he can't do it without the Chaos Emerald, and that kind of like puts should I say a limit to him or his power. Of course, he can still do things like run and like explode without the Chaos Emerald, but he can't do as much as he can do when he does have the Chaos Emeralds. Like not teleport. So he doesn't teleport, he slows down time and then hits the people. Or they might change it to teleport in the movie because it straight up looks like teleportation. So that might be one of the things they change too. But again, back to Knuckles, his Shadow is already overshadowing Knuckles. In the talk I'm trying to have that Knuckles is going to be overshadowed. Knuckles is canonically stronger even in this movie universe. Because if they're going the route that I think they're going, because Knuckles never lost in Sonic 2, he didn't lose. And I'm talking about power levels with Sonic the Hedgehog, but this is important, damn it. He didn't lose to Sonic. Sonic had to talk no jutsu him. So if he just comes out of the fight and loses to Shadow, there are ways that they could explain it that could make sense, and even from the trailer I can already see an explanation. The chaos control is overpowered, and the whole hand snapping thing wasn't him being just stronger than him, it was him slowing down time. And imagine somebody faster than you. They don't even have to necessarily be stronger, but like straight up faster than you, like twist your arm so fast that you can't even, you could hardly react to it. Like that works. Even though it doesn't like dislocate your arm, that would pretty much hurt. So yeah, I don't want Shadow to live up to his name and overshadow Knuckles, but it seems like that's what's going to happen, whether we like it or not. And then if they're removing Amy, there is a really, in fact, Amy and Rouge are very important to Shadow, like to like us developing him. And it looks like this is the movie where Sonic is going to get serious and stop his, main character. I'm going to talk to you and see why you do this, and maybe we can redeem you by the end of this movie. He's going to stop doing that. And it would be nice to watch Sonic take a threat seriously and not immediately try to redeem them or talk to them like he did to Knuckles. It would make him and Knuckles' interaction feel unique if he takes Shadow more seriously. Yeah, so the whole Sonic's dad, Tom, going to die, this was one of my fan theories for the third movie before the trailer even came out, that he would die and it would make him mirror Shadow even more, because that's Shadow's whole thing. Like, I really like how the movies have done with the whole theme of loneliness and family, because that is Shadow's entire story. In fact, that's probably Shadow's story more than like Sonic's story, because Shadow's whole thing is that everybody he loves is dead, well, except now Dr. Robotnik's grandfather, who is also Dr. Robotnik. That's not going to get confusing, but that's a change I'll talk about later. Loneliness is a thing like exclusive to him. To a lesser extent, not Knuckles, because he has to stay alone to protect the Master Emeralds, but he isn't usually not even alone. He's usually just part of Team Sonic, even though it makes no sense why he's rolling around with Team Sonic if he has to protect the Master Emerald. Looking at you, Sonic Heroes, or I'm weighing off on a tangent. Shadow's whole story is basically about him being a lonely, quiet, uh, traumatized teenager. He's basically the edgy teen, but not edgy like Sasuke, not emotionless like the first comparison is just Sasuke, and I hate it. But he is like supposed to be like more. He's like, if Sonic is Superman, Shadow is like Batman. He's actually lost people he cares about, and that's made his outlook on life darker, especially in the beginning when he's trying to genocide the entire world. So yeah, Shadow is obviously having that as his story. It actually like it's building on the stories of Sonic 1 and 2 and how they like talked about the themes like loneliness. So it feels like it's all been building up to Shadow, which if the guy, the movie or the movie director or writer, if he's always wanted to do Shadow, it makes sense that he's been building up to him using the themes of the story. So yeah. That's so I don't. It would make sense if they don't include Amy or Rouge, but they're important to Shadow's story. They literally are the ones who show us the softer side of the guy. If they remove him now, if they remove them now, like, and also Team Shadow, like, yeah, okay. I always thought that it would be kind of where Shadow beats the entire team. And the movie trailer kind of explains this, like, yeah, they've never fought before, and they are not a team, they don't work together, they don't even look like they have a straight up leader that says that, okay, we do this, we do that. Almost makes me miss Sally, but tangents. They lose because they're uncoordinated and they've never fought this opponent before, and he has some very unique powers that they have to learn how to get used to. And it's probably going to be Sonic that does that. Tails, I thought was going to be overshadowed until they showed a clip in the trailer, and you can go to the trailer and see this clip where he's jumping out of a big ship, and yeah, so the space colony arc is going to be a thing. The big ship where Shadow was created. Let me Shadow was created by Gerald Robotnik, and where he lived with Maria. That ship is there, so it is going to be a thing, but it's probably not going to be as big, or it's not going to be like an asteroid heading towards Earth. Maybe it has like a huge laser cannon, or yeah, they're probably not going to include nukes, or it just drops nukes. It would be very funny if it actually just straight up dropped nukes. It probably doesn't drop nukes. Anywho, so Gerald Robotnik being alive. Now this changes a few things. Mainly his dramatic death, but also they could like stick to Dr. Robotnik being a good guy and then make Gerald Robotnik the bad guy. Because the motivations that, okay, in the game Sonic Adventure 2, Gerald Robotnik wanted to destroy the entire world, and he literally programmed this into Shadow so that he could destroy the world and avenge the death of Maria at the hands of the gun soldiers. Also, in part 2, I can remember that Colonel guy saying that gun was created to deal with alien threats after the first movie. But yeah, I feel like they'll have to be like because Gon were literally specifically responsible for killing Maria, and please don't make it. I've seen it online that they can't just shoot a soldier's gunning down the little girl, that they will make it some sort of accident. And please, the entire point of them and their named Gon is that they gunned down Maria. That's literally the entire point. And if it's just a mistake, then Shadow kind of looks, well, he is kind of a dick for wanting to destroy everybody, but even more of a dick. And like, Maria was not only his only connection to humanity, but she died at the hands of like other human beings. The only other human beings he had interacted with, apart from Gerald Robotnik, who also wanted to kill other human beings because they killed his daughter, who he was making the perfect life form to save, because she had this sickness. And was it cancer or something? They never said what, I don't think they ever said what the sickness was, but it was practically cancer. And Shadow was basically her brother slash like therapy dog, therapy hedgehog. And are they going to? They're calling him an alien, so they're probably going to get into the Black Doom stuff. Maybe they won't get fully into it. I've heard some people say that he's going to be like like an alien like Sonic, and he's not going to be created like by Robotnik. But you could easily just make him with the blood of an alien. Like, even if you made the life form, you made like a clone of the alien, that still makes that alien an alien, if that makes any sense. Like, it doesn't make him less alien if he's like was made in a lab instead of born straight from another alien. So he could still be the ultimate life form that was made in lab. Like, it wouldn't make sense for him to control the ultimate life form if he wasn't made in a lab, like specifically to be the ultimate life form. So Gerald Robotnik, it changes a bit because he's probably going to end up being the final villain, and they could get dark with him, like the ending scene of some Sonic Adventure 2, where he's about to be gunned down and he vows his revenge on all of humanity. But yeah. And also, Sonic isn't being hunted down by the police anymore. Boo! I loved that aspect of the first game, Sonic being mistaken for Shadow, even though Shadow is black and wearing that Sonic is blue. And then him being in prison, and then Amy and the others have to rescue him. See, I can see them saying that Amy won't be there if they cut all that out and include something new in the middle. But what would they even include in the middle? Sonic Adventure 2 is probably the most cinematic Sonic game to date. They should probably just like do that movie like and try to stick to it as best as they can. And I don't want to be that guy who says that them changing it might suck. But like, it's literally the most cinematic, it's the most movie-like game. If the best thing to do would be to stick as much to it as possible while making little changes to make it make sense in that specific movie universe. So yeah,